In the middle of tremendous darkness and personal tragedy, false lights are trying to guide us, and they can bring shipwreck. We must be focused on God's pathways and His light in the storms of life. Christ is the light of navigation. Hello, and welcome to the Light of Navigation and this Reflections with Wisdom podcast. My name is Marguerite Lever-Woodall, and I'm an author, speaker, and your host. In these podcasts, I love to explore and contemplate different life issues, to find their solutions through the lens of God's wisdom and His words. In this 17th episode, called Cindy's Truth, I narrate a poignant commentary from a mother who's lost a child to addiction. As part of a support group's lesson on the book of Ecclesiastes 3, her heartfelt thoughts touched many. A time for everything theme in this biblical book took on a much deeper meaning. Will you join me as we listen in on this tough issue that life can present and find God's pathway through it? There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1. Through the loss of my son, I have mourned heavily for many days, hours, weeks, months, and years. It was minute by minute in the beginning, and I never knew what the next moment would bring. I wanted him back and to change what had happened. I wanted to start over because I just knew this was my fault. I was in denial for some time. I begged and pleaded with God to change my course, to somehow make him live again. I told myself I have nothing to live for because this was just too hard. I know grief feels different for everyone, but I think we all suffer those feelings after losing someone we love so much to addiction. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. Ecclesiastes 3, 4. The author of the book of Ecclesiastes may or may not be Solomon, but whoever it was, he gives us much to think about. There's the good and the bad. We are all born and we must all die. This is life as we know it, and we can't change any of this. I brought my children into this world, and I did the best I could with the knowledge I had. And I can't change that either. A time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 5. I remember right after Jordan's death that I was blaming everyone else for him being gone. He wouldn't have overdosed if I'd been a better parent, if he'd had better friends, if his girlfriend had showed him more attention, if. My thoughts were scattered, and it was time for me to gather myself and my thoughts and bring them to reality. I needed to embrace God and what He had for me, but I wasn't sure how. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. Ecclesiastes 3, verses 6 through 7. What do these verses say to you? I needed to search for a way to forgive myself and to think more clearly. Did you supply your loved one with the tools to harm themselves? No. Do we need to keep beating ourselves up in our thoughts? No. Do we need to fix our hearts on a life we are meant to have? Yes, God wants us to be joyful. But how can we do that? A time to love and a time to hate. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 8. We need to love ourselves first and look at ourselves as Jesus looks at us. He saved us from the sin that we create. And what the author means by a time to hate is to hate sin and what brought our loved one to destruction. Not to hate them, not to hate God and ourselves. We are an image of God. We need to delight in ourselves and the love He gave us. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live. Ecclesiastes 3, 9 through 12. As hard as it is to possibly fathom, we all have a time to live. Does it do your heart and mind good to question your actions all of the time? I have found that trusting in God gets me through day to day, as hard as it is sometimes. As parents or loved ones, we are questioning ourselves constantly with the but if or what if. And that brings me to this. God has made everything beautiful in its time. We all have a time, we just don't know how long. We can make our time better by being good to ourselves, loving each other, and finding something to heal our hearts. What can you imagine and then do in the name of your loved one? Is it speaking their name in some form, or is it by doing a good deed and saying, "This is for my loved one that I lost, and I'm paying it forward"? I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear Him. Whatever is has already been, and what will be has been before. And God will call the past to account. Ecclesiastes 3, 14 through 15. Be not wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. Proverbs 3, 7. This is what I've learned through my journey. Being angry at myself or God through the loss of my loved one only harms me and my family. Yes, we all have moments of sheer grief. Take them, cry or scream. But the minute you're done, go to the Word. God will take your pain from you and turn it into compassion, love, acceptance, and mercy. In closing, I'll say this. Journal your grief if you don't already. Talk to someone that understands you in your journey. Be mindful that this is a process that doesn't leave us. It just changes us, and I am praying for the better. God bless you. Cindy Bowling, mother of Jordan Birmingham. Thank you for taking time to listen to this mother's heart today. If this podcast would comfort someone you know who's going through deep loss, please pass it on. Your comments are valued, and subscribing is also deeply appreciated. In episode 18 of Reflections for Wisdom, called The Tree, I explore the anger we can feel when life hurts and God seems far away.